Play had already restarted. The referee had already moved on. Under the old rules, that should have been the end of it. Then, VAR did something it was never allowed to do before. Here is exactly what happened, and the rule that made it possible. Group D, United States versus Paraguay. Second half. A heavy challenge between USA defender Tim Ream and Paraguay forward Miguel Almirón. Referee Danny Makkelie sees it, blows the whistle, shows a yellow card. Paraguay take the free kick, play moves on. Everyone in the stadium assumes the decision is locked in. Under the old laws, it was locked in. Once play restarted, VAR's job was basically done. The only thing that could still be reviewed after a restart was a straight red card, and only in extreme circumstances. A yellow card, once shown and once play continued, was final. No second guessing, no review, no do-over. That is how it worked for years, through multiple World Cups, through thousands of bookings nobody ever revisited once the game moved past them.
This is the World Cup where that stopped being true, and it is not an isolated case. We are 1 week into this tournament, and cards have already been a story. 3 red cards in the South Africa versus Mexico opener, the most in a single World Cup match since 2006. Qatar finishing a half 2 men down against Canada. Cards are not just punishment anymore, they are deciding matches, which makes the timing of this new VAR power impossible to ignore. The 2026 rulebook gave VAR a new power, the ability to correct mistaken identity. If the wrong player gets carded for something another player did, VAR can now step in and fix it. On paper, that sounds simple. In practice, nobody expected to see it used this fast, and nobody expected it to be used after the restart.
That is exactly what happened in Los Angeles. VAR flagged the Ream booking as a mistaken identity case and intervened, even though the free kick had already been taken. Under the previous rulebook, that intervention does not happen. The whistle blows, the card comes out, the game moves on. Decision closed. Under the new rulebook, closed does not always mean closed anymore. Officials were careful about how far this power actually reaches. It is not a general license to relitigate every card. It only applies to narrow, clear-cut situations, mistaken identity, an obviously wrong booking, or serious foul play that was missed in real time, and only when the fix can happen immediately without dragging the match to a halt. This was not VAR rewinding the tape to debate a 50-50 call. This was VAR correcting a specific, identifiable error.
But the precedent now exists. Reporting on the match described it as one of the first high-profile uses of this corrected identity power at a World Cup, a card-related decision being revisited after the game had already restarted around it. That single sentence breaks something that held for over a decade of VAR football. Play continuity used to be the line nothing crossed. Now there is an exception, and it has already been used. Think about what that means going forward. Every yellow card shown at this World Cup now carries a small asterisk. Not overturned, not guaranteed, just not as final as it used to be. Commentators will start saying it. Fans will start expecting it. The next controversial booking will not just be a controversial booking, it will be a test of how far officials are willing to stretch this new tool.
And there is a bigger question sitting behind all of this. If a yellow card can be revisited after a restart, how long does that window actually stay open? 5 seconds? 30 seconds? Until the next stoppage? The rulebook says immediately, without delaying the match excessively, but immediately is not a stopwatch number. It is a judgment call. Different referees in different stadiums are going to interpret that differently, and you can bet that becomes its own controversy before this tournament is over. This was Rule 4 from our breakdown of the 6 biggest World Cup changes, the expanded powers for VAR. At the time, we said more VAR was everyone's favorite development. Now you know exactly what that expansion looks like the first time it actually bites.
6 rules were written in a meeting room months ago. One of them just rewrote what counts as final inside a live World Cup match. The rest of the tournament will tell us how often this gets used again. The game has not changed. The decisions around it have. Subscribe if you enjoyed this type of content. It means a lot. You're welcome.